Thank you for picking up the Sticks. This is episode 121 Sticks Gaming Podcast. I am Mike Carnett. To my somewhere is Mike Steak Carnia.
What's going on?
And to my other art, the Count of Monte Cristo Rosian.
Have you ever had a Monte Cristo sandwich?
No, but when you were telling me to focus on this, I was looking over at the DVD rack.
And that's the last movie you remember?
I need a nickname for art. And that came up.
Okay.
That's where that came from.
Fair enough. Monte Cristo sandwiches are amazing. You feel like death afterwards.
I was like, I had one once and I wanted to die afterwards.
Good old Bennigan's.
They're deep fried sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
It's like a deep fried club sandwich. Yeah, right, there's a bunch of ham in there. The one I had, and I did not feel good afterwards.
The only real kind of like I don't even know what level chain restaurant this is, but you guys remember Max and Irma's?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So we get some cookies now.
Yes, that was the thing. Like you would order
chicken tortilla soup.
I don't even remember the.
I don't know about that. But I know about cookies.
Yeah, they would make like the dessert would be you would order a half dozen chocolate chip cookies, and they would come out like on the pan, like they would bake them. Like they were like, "Are you guys ready for your cookies?" Like in 10 minutes, they're like, "Yeah, okay, cool." Put them in the oven. So they pull them out and they would put them on the table, like still on the oven, like hot, like right out of the oven. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say I miss that place, but really I just miss being able to go out and have a meal.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's
I guess I miss. Then I also miss Denny's and IHOP and all those other places.
Karen asked me a couple days ago. She's like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I'm like, "I want to go out and have a meal. That's all I want." Like I haven't eaten outside of the house in almost a year at this point.
Fly to Texas.
Yeah. I'll get a Whataburger, a side of COVID, and come back home.
Beautiful.
The Whataburger sounds fantastic.
Yeah, so Whataburger's delicious.
Where did you have a Whataburger?
The Dallas airport. It was fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It puts In-N-Out to shame. In-N-Out
does.
Sucks.
I ate In-N-Out once. It was okay. Can we just talk about food this whole time? I'm having a good time with this.
I'll say you're right.
All right, Steak, we need you to change the logo to some chopsticks. Or like chicken legs, drumsticks, whatever.
We've rebranded mid-show. This is episode 1 of the Chopsticks.
No, it's still the sticks. It's fine.
Exactly.
That's why the name was picked. It can be used in a variety of things.
Oh my
That's
God.
Right.
That really was. That was the origin of it. But all right. I think it's about video games or something because actually some announcements happened. We had some shows, kind of virtual.
Busy couple of weeks. So
let's get this party started. Steak, what you playing?
All right, I wrapped up Yeast 9 Monstrum Nox. Took me 35 hours, and it was awesome. It was great. I enjoyed every minute of it. The story paid off. It was so good. Yeah, like I would have gone for the platinum. Honestly, if it wasn't for there's a couple trophies I saw where it was one I was like, okay, that's gonna take forever, and the other one was like difficulty. I'm like, nope. As soon as I see difficulty 1, no, I'm good. But other than that, it was absolutely awesome. Probably, actually, it might be my favorite Yeast game out of all the ones. The only ones I have not finished are the Japanese one, which was one only, which is 5, 7, and I never finished 8, but I got really far in it, which I did enjoy it. But yeah, it's probably my favorite one. Then after that, I jumped back into Persona 5 Royal because I actually picked up Persona 5 Strikers, but that takes place 6 months after this game. So I was like, you know what? And I wanted to get back. I've been wanting to get back to Persona 5 anyways. And man, I forgot how great that game is. It's so good. It's so good. So I'm probably at like the 30-hour mark now. I'm halfway through June, which is basically the 2.5 months into the game takes about a year total.
Okay.
So it's gonna, yeah. I looked up like on that good old how long to beat website, the average.
That's one of those things where it's like, I'm like, man, I'm glad I did that. Sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I didn't do that because it can really be discouraging.
Yeah, the average for Persona 5 Royal is 110 hours. And that's just main story. That's like not the other extra stuff.
My God.
Yeah, it's huge. But but it's funny because it's like it doesn't feel like every hour, like every time I'm playing and everything, it doesn't feel like a chore though. Like it's like I want to do stuff. Like it like I just constantly am doing different things and progressing each day. Like because like some days you're forced to do certain things, which is fine because it's very story based. And then other days you have like you can do whatever you want. You can go to bed if you want, and then you do nothing, or you can boost up your stats and all this other kind of stuff, and like doing different various things, which is cool. So, but yeah, but like I said, I just God, I just that game's just so good. Um, but what's happening now is exactly what happened the first time I was playing Persona 5 Royal. Is that when I was playing it the first time, Final Fantasy 7 Remake came out, so it got shelved. Well, I am now playing Bravely Default 2 on the Nintendo Switch. So Persona 5 Royal has been shelved yet again. That was weird. Sorry, I was getting a phone call at 9 o'clock at night from some number.
Answer it
But
live.
yeah, I know, right? So I'm already 9 hours into Bravely Default 2. It took me 6.5 hours to get just through the prologue. It is this is a classic JRPG where like the grind pays off. Let's put it that way. If you grind, it pays off. And this one is just similar to how the ones on the 3DS were, where so there's a ton of jobs that you eventually can unlock for every character. But the initial job is the freelancer job. Well, if you max out that job level, you can assign these abilities that give you more JP points, which is basically job points. That's how you level up your jobs and get more skills and stuff. And so I spent all that time doing that. So now the rest of the game, I'm just gonna be like, anytime I get a new job, I'll just be flying through leveling them up now. It'll be like
Nice.
way quicker. But this game's great. It's hard. It's difficult. Like the bosses are really tough. Like I'm owning like enemies on the regular map. I just had a boss battle that it took me 3 tries to beat it. And like because you have to really learn about like the different strategies and everything. But yeah, it's been great. I actually brought my Switch downstairs so I could play on the TV, which I never do. I always play handheld for these games, but something about this game, I was like, I like the art style of this game. I've done both. Man, it looks not so great on the handheld as in handheld mode, but it looks fantastic on the TV. The art style is very cool and really pays off on the TV.
It doesn't look good, like in terms of like it's like muddy graphically, or is it just
Yeah,
like too small?
no, it's muddy.
Okay.
I mean, it is smaller because like the way the 3DS, so the way like it kind of works with like it's very similar. If anyone's ever played the 3DS version, from Bravely Default, where like you can kind of like zoom out on like the main town and stuff, and it's very tiny, and there's a lot of things going on. So like it is kind of hard to see on a smaller screen a little bit, but I mean, I was kind of using that from the first couple of games, so it's not that big of a deal. But muddy. Like it's crazy. Like all the characters on the TV are very sharp. They look great. This, it's like you see like pixels and stuff. Like it's kind of crazy. Like
weird.
it drops. Like I'm thinking it definitely drops to like, because it kind of reminds me a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which didn't look great handheld either. And that was like around 540p. So this might be a little bit more than that.
Okay.
So I would put it somewhere between 540 and 720 probably.
Okay.
But so it looks kind of weird, but it's good for like the grinding part. It's like I don't care. So like so if I'm doing like grinding, it's like cool. I'll just chill on the couch, grind because I'm just enemy after enemy after enemy. But then once like when I advance the story, I'll pop it on the TV so this way I can get a nice visual and everything. So, but it's cool. I'm really really enjoying it.
Nice. Are you playing?
Yep.
Art.
Yo.
Which playing?
Right, so I'll work this so I can transition it over to you easier. So I finally got around to finishing the campaign in Black Ops Cold War.
Oh yeah, what'd you think?
It was fine.
Yeah.
Just, typical Black Ops stuff. The end gets kind of trippy. So when I played through, I finished with the good ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I went online and looked up a video of the bad ending. The bad ending is so much better from an entertainment perspective.
Yeah, I saw that too. I did the same exact thing.
Like the good ending, you go through and clear an area, and okay, the game's over.
Mm-hmm.
And the bad ending, there's like you go in and there's a fight, and then you do this, and it's so much better from an entertainment perspective, not from a what would happen to the world perspective.
Yeah, totally. I don't know how you say that any better without spoiling pretty much everything. But no, I totally agree with you. I do the same thing. It's like one of those things. Like anytime I know there's more than one ending to a game, like I'll finish it. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, just reload a save and replay it. I'll just do that. But like, I'm not going to replay 100 hours of Red Dead Redemption. So I wanted to see the other ending. So
Right.
I'll always go to YouTube to find that out. But like, I did the same thing with Call of Duty. I was like, it's very different. Like they're very, very different.
And like the reason I just went with the good ending is because it involves you at one point either telling the truth or telling a lie, and I didn't want to choose tell a lie and then have the guy like shoot me in the head and I have to redo that whole section over again because it was kind of annoying getting to that prompt.
Yeah, right.
So there was that. I also played the Outbreak Zombies mode they have.
Oh, okay.
Where it's basically, do you remember that the 4-person squad fire team mode where you have to collect uranium and fill the things and
yes.
So it's basically you're doing zombies in there and there's like they put waypoints on the map where you know different things you can go do and I think there's like 1 or 2 like objectives you have to clear in the map before you can teleport to the next one and when you teleport that's when the difficulty ramps up to like tier 2 and the further and further you get the more elite zombies start showing up. So that's
Gotcha.
heavily armored ones or ones that have goofy powers and shit like that. So it's interesting. It's not something I'm gonna I'm sitting there checking the time to get out of here and go play tonight. I mean, every now and then I'll jump in and play a bit. But yeah, I mean it's fine. I played the Outriders demo.
Okay.
So that's it's a cross between like Destiny and The Division. So it's like a squad-based third-person shooter where you go into cover everything, but based on the class you choose, you have some kind of powers, and you can do special attacks. And the only way to regain health is to basically you have to do damage to enemies, and the way you have to do it varies based on which class you choose. So there's one that's a pyromancer, so you have to basically set enemies on fire and then do damage to them to regain health.
Are these like humanoid enemies, or these are like monsters and stuff that you're fighting?
Humanoid.
Okay.
They may actually just be in the demo. You just see
straight humans.
In the demo, you just see humans. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the boss fights you'll run into what's called another altered person, which that's what you are. You're a human who got powers from this toxic space storm or whatever the hell the story is. I don't know.
Naturally.
The gameplay in the game's fine. I mean, like I said, I like it better than Division because you do have the abilities in there, so it kind of changes up the gameplay a little bit. I always found the Division to be kind of bland for my taste. I mean, you have guns and you have maybe a turret or a drone or something. And this, you can light people on fire or teleport across the map and get behind them, or a number of different ways to attack based on what skills you have unlocked. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't think the storytelling in it's great. There were a lot of, granted, it's a demo and not a beta, so I don't know how to take this. But there was a lot of like issues with like missynced audio to the video, and then there's things that they do in there that you can tell like they're. The one example which you might have seen on Twitter or somewhere on the internet by now is like there's a cutscene where literally the cutscene is your guy jumps over like a 3-foot gap.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And you see that and you're like, okay, you guys are very obviously hiding something in the background, loading or whatever the hell it is. Just a lot of questionable choices like that. I mean, kind of make me pause and be like, is this something I really want to pay full price for when it comes out, or wait till it goes on sale or whatever. But I mean, like when you're in there and fighting against the enemies, it's a fun game. So I mean, I'll keep an eye on that. I mean, I'm hoping they're gonna fix the problems that are very obvious in the demo.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things too where like it's not just me. I asked like Vegas and Andy, I play with them. I'm like, are you guys seeing the same thing on your end? They're like, yeah, we're seeing the same audio desync issues and awesome cutscenes where you jump over a 3-foot gap on a bridge. So I'm kind of keeping an eye and ear out on that one to see what they say after their. 'Cause I don't think it launches until like first week of April. So
April.
theoretically, they have some time to get some patches out there. We'll see.
I mean, it's also like 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 Destiny and the Division. Like those games are up. Those games are drastically different. Like a month or two into it than they were when they launched too. So like,
Yeah,
I'm sure there's gonna be all kinds of stuff they're gonna add if they wanted to.
I mean, yeah, those games do get very different as I guess, the release cycle goes on. But these, I mean, I don't think I ever saw issues in either of those games. Granted, this is not Ubisoft or Activision Bungie putting a game out. This is, a smaller studio, so, but still, I mean, yeah, we'll wait and see. So I don't even know what full price is for retail on that, so who knows?
Pretty sure it's $59.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Might be waiting a bit on that one. And the last game that I played was I finished Yakuza Like a Dragon.
That's a transition.
Yeah, that's a transition.
About.
Finally got through it. So after the last time, I think the last time I talked was after the first time I tried the Millennium Tower.
Yeah.
So the final like showdown thing, and I died at the one boss who can kill you with one hit. So after that, I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna go back, because even when I was fighting him, it was a grind to get his health down. When I was fighting him, so I'm gonna go around and just dick around and unlock some more stuff and upgrade weapons, and I think I spent 10 hours just screwing off in the game. And then eventually I'm like, all right, I'm level 70 now. He was definitely not level 70. I think I'm equipped to go back in there and handle this. And knowing that he had that, that one hit capability, I'm looking at all my gear and everything. I'm like, what can I do to counter this? There has to be a way. And of course I looked at my gear. I'm like, oh, I got that thing. That might do it. Oh, I have this skill. That might take care of it. And sure enough, that worked. So it was actually pretty easy to breeze through all the enemies in that tower, being level 70, which they're all level 60, I think, tops. I thought the ending of the story was it was entertaining. It was pretty good. Definitely a out of nowhere RKO there at the very end.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, and I got to the end, and it's like, okay, you've unlocked the whatever it is, premium adventure now, where you can just kind of free roam and do all side stories you missed and things like that. And I was like, oh, I'm looking at the trophies, and I'm 15 trophies short, and I'm like, okay, that's easy, that's easy, that's easy. What's this one? And there's a trophy to complete the true final Millennium Tower. And I went online and looked up what's involved in that. It involves a whole other playthrough. I'm like, nope, you got 70 hours of my time. I loved it. I'm out. The platinum's not that important to
me. Yeah, and I finished it too. And Art finished it before me, and he kind of gave me some pointers. If you get into the 70, you'll probably be fine to get to that final thing. And I got my main crew to 75, 76.
Jeez.
Kind of on accident. I kept they have these little, each one of your characters can have two items that you can put on them to increase attack, magic, whatever. But I had one that I had two different items that both boost XP by 50%.
Right.
So I would just I would go through a dungeon and put it on Ichiban, and I put them both on him though. So
okay.
I'd run through that dungeon, getting 2%, two times XP.
Yeah.
I run to that that magic bum that has 400,000 XP.
Was it the invested vagabond?
Yes, and so I'd be drinking the Kiwami juice for everybody else to get their XP going. I had their job XP token that got them extra XP for their job as well. So I ran through that dungeon 4 times. One time with each one of my characters having that 2x XP. So I was just I just mowed down.
So you were getting
everybody.
a million XP for that person every time you saw one of those guys.
It was nuts. I said, I'm ranking up. I'm 68, 69. I'm ranking up still with just that one fight. So that's how much you would get from that one guy. So Ichiban was 76. My main crew was Ichiban, Zhao, Eri and Namba. Because I mean, Namba had a crazy fire attack. Eri was just my.
Oh yeah.
Everyone was health. I just kept doing the. She had like her phone and she takes a picture of the guy and it like drops his like accuracy down.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept doing that over and over again with the guy with a one shot kill. So like I would have a pretty good chance to dodge or block it. But yeah, like I found no challenge in those last couple of fights. I was way overpowered. But I did the same thing you did too, Art, where I was just like, I got to that point, but every single time I finished a dungeon, I would go do the management thing, make 3 million yen a couple of different times. I would go to the weapons crafter lady.
Yep.
Get that all
the romance workshop.
Yes, romance workshop, and then I would go that. All right, what do I need? All right, I would go. Then I would go to the other tower to get the ruby or something nonsense I needed, and then I would go to, the Mario Kart section, and they had the guy right next to it had all the material. So I just buy all the stuff and go back and
then you
building and buying and building and managing.
And then you run in circles in the park to grab bugs because for some reason you upgrade weapons with that.
Yeah, I don't know. So I would just kept doing that over and over and over again until I got like all 4 of my main guys had like those weapons that glowed like purple.
Yeah.
So like they were almost to like the maximum of their weapons too. So I was just mowing people down. Like there were some times where I would just like go into a fight. It'd be like 3 of them. I would do like Nanba's well done fire attack and just wipe them all out in one blow. Like, all right, well, bring on the next people.
Yep.
And that being said, I was exactly where Art was, where I saw like the super challenge, ultra mega tower, whatever the hell it's called, and be like, nope, I am good. I am done. I'm happy with this.
I saw the name on it at first. I'm like, okay, I'm already overranked for where I should have been at the end of the game.
Exactly.
Maybe it won't be that much to get this. And I saw it. So there's the Millennium Tower, there's the final Millennium Tower, and there's the true final Millennium Tower. And it's like the final Millennium Tower, I probably could have gone in and maybe had a shot at finishing.
Yeah.
But then I read like what's required for the last one. It's like you have to have a 99 job skill on all your characters and like a 30 something for another job on all of them. I'm like, no.
That's bonkers.
I got other things to do in life. Which the kicker then too is like I texted Mike like earlier than that. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I just looked what's required in that. Like I've given this game 70 hours of my time. I had a good time. I'm out. And like not 4 hours later, I'm sitting in the basement getting ready to play video games. And my kid comes up and he's like, "Are you gonna play the game with the guy with the goofy hair?" I'm like, "What goofy hair?" And he picks the case up off the TV stand. I'm like, "Oh, God, yeah, I guess let's play
it." And like after I finished, I was like, "All right, here's what I'll do. I'll go around." My plan was to like, all right, I'm gonna finish all the sub stories, like the side missions, and then see where I'm at after that. And the ones I was missing, literally all of them were the cart related or like romance related. And I was just like, I'm not investing in either one of those right now. So
yeah,
I think I am as well. I am super happy with my 80 hours I got out of that game that I was just gonna try for Game of the Year talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely adore that game though. That is so. You go from getting shot and left in a dumpster to like CEO of the biggest company in town, and I'm calling in orbital strikes from a satellite dish, and there's all kinds of nonsense. So it's like it's a crazy journey. The only thing I was like, oh my god, this is happening, was near the end of the game. They have like kind of like a political drama happening, and I thought I was going to be managing a election, like I was going to be campaigning and stuff, because everything else is happening in that game. Like
You're right.
Oh, cool. Political management
That would have been cool.
Game. Let's do it. So I was down for that. That just didn't happen. Which again, at that point in the game, I was okay with that not happening because it was much later on. But I was just like, all right, do I got to like pick speeches? Like, is it going to be like I got like when you're doing the management piece of it, like you have like these investor meetings where you're like knocking down questions and you're trying to like it's kind of like a mini game. I was for sure I was going to be having like a debate where I was knocking down the other guy, I know, doing the right questions and just all kinds of stuff. And it didn't happen, but that was my only thing. I was just like, oh, this is going to happen. And it didn't. but yeah, overall, man, like that's one of those things. Like this game really shocked me how much I loved it. I don't really feel a need to go back to the other Yakuza games just because it's so different than the other ones are. Like if the other ones were like the same like turn based like this one was, I think I'd be down for playing it again.
Yeah.
But just being like brawler games, I don't feel like compelled. Like I have to go back to 0 and start from scratch.
Yeah, and I was asking Steak about what order to play them in because my only reason is like my Xbox is in the front room. I can play that while the wife and kid are playing their Switches. So, I got to play something on there.
No, for sure.
The answer is Peggle. Peggle 2 is the answer.
Ooh, Peggle is an answer. Peggle's a very good answer.
Well, the new version of Judgment is coming out in April. If you guys want to
Turn-based.
jump on that, because that is like, yes, it's brawler style, but it is different in terms of like it's more of a detective story and stuff like that, and it's fantastic. It was very good.
I'm in for that.
Yeah. So So if you're looking to get back kind of in that world at least, because it still takes place in the world and everything.
Yeah.
So
And after I finished, I was poking around on the internet. I was on Reddit looking at like the Yakuza subreddit, and boy, opinions are very strong one way or another on that game. It seems like a lot of the like Yakuza diehards like hate the turn-based combat and the RPG-ness of it. And there's people who love that game who are like kind of in the same boat that you're in, kind of in the same boat that I'm in after playing for a little bit. Like, I don't really need to play the brawler game style. It's not my cup of tea. If I'm gonna play a brawler, there's other stuff out there I'd rather play.
Yeah, and honestly too, I think it's super smart for like the Yakuza people to switch it up at this point because they had 7 games before this one because it was 6 plus 0, right?
Plus 0, yep.
So like a new character, like new style, like I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of just like a jumping on point for the series,
right?
And like the only reason I would even entertain the thought too is because I think they're all on Game Pass right now too. So like like you said, so like I mean, I think all of them except for 6,
which is coming. It's coming.
Which is coming.
Yep.
So like maybe I'll take a spin on them at that point, but like I think that them really changing up the whole. I would if Yakuza Like a Dragon was another Yakuza game, I probably would have tried it, just because I'm now 8 games into this series now,
right?
And like I probably wouldn't have felt, and with a new character and whatever it is, like I think it was super smart for me to try something new. But I mean, I don't know, when you get 7 Yakuza games, like it's kind of, I think it'd be kind of hard as a fan to be like, I think I can go for an 8th, and if you know what I mean, like I just feel like you got 7 of them, for crying out loud. Like I think it's time for a change.
The stories are so good. Like that's the thing. Like you guys, as you can see in like a Dragon, like the way the story is just fantastic. The way it's told and everything, and like all the other games are just like that. Like I understand like the brawler stuff and aspects too, because like after when I was going through them all this past summer, like I was feeling fatigued from the same style like throughout all. I mean, variations, but still technically the same style. But the story, that's what kept me in, just kept me going.
Yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon is amazing. Go try it. It's always on sale. I saw it for like $25 recently.
Yeah, it keeps dropping like a couple bucks on Amazon.
It's
like every other
sub
day.
$30 on both platforms at this point.
Which is a steal.
Honestly, the one thing so the PS5 upgrade came out, so I downloaded that last night. Played for like 10 minutes maybe. I did not see much difference in the resolution mode. The frame rate mode, very smooth.
Oh yeah.
Well, so like even
super. Yeah.
Even playing the game, like I was playing through it, I'm like, I don't really see how you can make this like look that much better by bumping it up to 4K or whatever. I'm like, it's a pretty good looking game. And then I played it on 4K for all. I'm like, not seeing much here. But then I popped on the performance mode, and that was pretty smooth. And you both played that on Xbox, so the loading screens where they give you like the tips on the loading screens, did those just like blink by for you guys?
Yep, pretty much.
So I didn't pay attention to that on the PS5 version, but like I turned on a gameplay video that someone had done of the game. They were playing on Series X, and like they started from the beginning, and they got to that first screen, and it flashed and went away. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The tips are completely pointless. You can never get to them. You can never
I've read
see
them all so many times.
Yeah. I get to the point where I wasn't even reading them. Like if you press X, you can go, or press A, you can go to the next screen.
Mm-hmm.
So they come up. I just jam on A, see how many I can get through. This is, like that would be the game. That's what I would do on the load screen.
That's it for me. On to you,
That's
Mike.
it. So I played a few more things after you. I finished Yakuza, and then I finished another game the same day because it's shorty.
Yeah, me too. That's when I finished Call of Duty.
I played all the way through Superliminal. I bought it.
Oh.
It was on sale. I bought it on Xbox. Superliminal is like it's a puzzle game that really messes with perception. So like that like the game you play when you were a kid, when you see someone like across a room and you would like pinch their head like with your fingers from far away. So imagine if you could like pinch their head and then you would look down at the table and you can actually like drop their head to be that small like in front of you. That's what the game is. So like wherever the furthest distance you can see, that's when the item is placed. But it always stays the same size. So if I were to pick up like my cell phone and push and look up all the way across my room here in the basement and then drop it, it would be the size of like a dining room table because it's all the way over there and it looks gigantic when I'm holding it close to my face. And that's all the puzzles are built. A lot of puzzles are built around that. But it's not just that perspective. A lot of it is, some of it is like color based stuff. Some of it looks like, some of the puzzles are like, that looks like a wall there, but it really isn't because like the wall is white, but the door is also white. So you can't see it at all until you like just are like around the corner a little bit, like, oh, what's that like sliver of like color? And you can go in there and all of a sudden you see the door. They do things like I'll look down a hallway and I'll see a door, and then you'll go to that door and it's not a door. It's like a weird, it's like a square that's been like protruded from the wall, but it looks like a normal sized door when I'm down the hallway. But then I move a little bit and the door is just like not even there. It's all kinds of stuff like that. And the game very much so has like the Portal vibe to it, where like you start off by going from like room to room, then all of a sudden you're outside these rooms, and you're kind of like in the inner workings of like a factory, but it all happens within your mind because this Superliminal, I forget what the company is called, but it's basically like sleep therapy. So like you're asleep while but you're awake in your mind doing these puzzles for some kind of sleep therapy reason. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But all of a sudden, like you start breaking down these puzzles, and you get these notices from the doctors being like, if you want to, not, but it's kind of like tongue in cheek. Like if you don't want to, have life altering, crippling migraines, don't go down this door like hallway. But you have to go down the hallway. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like you're constantly having to go against the narrator and things like that to get everything done. But the game absolutely spirals out of control about like halfway into the game. Like it just gets wild. And like I said, that's when they kind of get away from like the perspective of like the items and into perspective of like your entire surroundings. Like everything is up for grabs. I mean, you have to like line up images from like, you can be in a room and there'll be 3 different objects in front of you. And they'll have like a small amount of a picture in them, and you gotta line them all up. And then once you line them all up, you can pick up the item that's in the picture, and just like it's really hard to explain without actually seeing video of it. I'm sure it's been on some different I think it was on like a Nintendo Direct back in the day.
Yep.
But you can finish the game in like 3-4 hours. But man, it is really really good. It doesn't quite reach like the Portal standard of like excellence. It doesn't quite meet like the Stanley Parable, like totally mind fuckery and funny. It has spices of all those things, but it is very very good. Like this one of the things also on sale quite a bit for like $10-11. I would totally recommend it for that price point, especially if you like puzzle games. Just to see all the weird places it goes, and there's all kinds of hidden stuff, like things like when you break the puzzle and you're in an area you shouldn't be. There's something going to be there. There's either going to be a collectible there. They have special rooms that are just like constellation rooms. So you go in there and it's like this big dome. There's just stars everywhere. And you got to stand in a certain spot and look up at certain stars that make a constellation that ends up being an object that you're collecting. It's just
Cool.
all kinds of stuff. And and it does not hold your hand really at all. Like it kind of just like throws you in and sees and try to see what you can do. And there's some times where it's like, man, that thing's way too big. Like I made the thing way too big. What do I do? Like,
Neat. That's cool.
yeah, it's really really neat. I would definitely check it out. On the other end of the spectrum, I started playing Battlefield 5. I was kind of trying to play a shooter. I got it's on Game Pass. I was like, I want to try it out. I never played it. Like it starts off really cool. It's like it's the same like as it did in Battlefield 1. It's like the vignettes, like it's a bunch of small stories. And the game starts off with like give me a little piece of each individual story, and then you get to pick which one you want to do. So they have one from like 45, 46, 47, 48. Like there's like they can be in chronological order. You can play them in any order you want to. But I was like, okay, well I'm gonna play it in a chronological order. Boot up the first level, and instantly I'm like something's not right here. And the cutting of the cutscene is just so bad. I can't even like sugarcoat it. It's just really really bad. Where like I'm a guy who was in prison and they end up recruiting me because I'm a shyster and they're trying to do shyster work in World War II. And it's like my commanding officer is giving me the plan of what we're doing, and they cut to him, and they cut to me, and they cut to him, they cut to me, they cut to him, they cut to me, cut to him, cut to me, cut to him, cut to me, and the entire time they cut to me, I'm just staring. Like my character's just staring at the commanding officer, just like listening, not emoting or anything, just like for no reason. They keep showing me over and over again, and the commanding officer is like pointing towards the stuff like we gotta do this, we gotta go here, we gotta do that. I'm like, why are you showing me do nothing over and over and over again? So that was like off-putting. Then like they get me into the mission, and the very first thing you do is you use some binoculars to like look off in the distance, and I'm doing that, and all the textures are fucked. All of them, like they're all terrible, like super muddy, super terrible. They look like PlayStation 2 graphics, and it looked like that for a minute until everything finally starts to like pop in individually, and I could see like the seams of everything as it pops in. And so I'm just like, all right, what the hell's going on here? Then I go down this slide, and I get to where I'm going, and you're supposed to be kind of stealthy, and of course I'm terrible at it because it's my very first run of this game. And I end up having to fire on a couple different enemies, and then there's a pack of 4 enemies, literally probably 60 yards away from where I'm at, and they're looking at me. I just killed these people. It's very loudly, not like and they look at me and they're like. They just keep looking at me. They don't move. They don't do anything. They just keep looking at me. So I'm like, I guess I'm cool. I guess I'm fine. Then I find there's a flak gun, like an anti-air gun. I get into that. I turn it on the 4 guys that are just staring at me because they're creeping me out, and I fire at them. And all 4 guys are glitching over the world like crazy. Like when they're kind of like flopping around, like when like their feet are over their heads. And they're just like looking all over the place and they're sliding around like in the level. I'm like, this is just like broken. Like this is just completely broken. And
that Frostbite engine.
It was unbelievable because it's like this game is kind of old at this point too. Like it's been out for a couple of years. I knew it had some trouble when it first came out, but my God.
I don't recall it ever doing anything like that when I played it on PS4.
Oh, goodness gracious. And then like I get to that level, and like I'm just kind of like I'm playing on normal, so I'm playing like on easy. I'm playing like on normal.
Right.
I'm just mowing through. I'm just walking through. I'm like, all right, boom, you're dead. Boom, you're dead. Boom, you're dead. And it's like I feel like everyone's reacting funny to me. Like it's just like I don't know. Like it was just a terrible introduction to that game. It was like I can't do this anymore. I'm like. I gotta get out of here.
So, how long into that did you stop and finally realize, oh, I should have downloaded Bad Company instead?
Pretty much immediately. Yeah. When the mud looked like mud, like when it was muddy mud, I should have been like, I should need to get out of here. So that's enough talking about Battlefield 5. I played I thought there was a GameStop that was closing somewhere in my area, so I bought. It was like a weird like cross section of games, but with like a
No,
I bought
you with a weird cross section of games? Get the hell out of here.
Dead Rising 4. I bought. I didn't play it yet. Dead Island, and then Yoku's Island Express. So I only bought games with Dead and Island in it. If it doesn't have either one of those, I wouldn't buy it.
I'm shocked you bought Dead Island because that's like a double negative, so they would just cancel each other out. And...
It was literally 40 cents. So I was just like, it was one of those impulse buys at the register. It was like buying a candy bar. I was like, oh sure, I'll buy that too.
It's worth it for 40 cents.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, absolutely, backwards compatible. Let's do this. Yeah, so I played about 4 or 5 hours of Yoku's Island Express. It's like a side-scrolling pinball game is the best way to do it. You play as a beetle and you're like rolling this ball around, and you're actually the Island Express portion of it is a mail service. So like I've become like the new postman of this area, and I go around this island delivering letters. But as I'm delivering letters, I'm getting like tasks from people. Like go here, get the toolbox, go bring the toolbox back to this guy. He'll build a bridge for you. Go to the next section, like those type of things. But in between them, they have like small like pinball sections where you're actually using like L2 and R2 to move move flippers, and it's like a little pinball game like in these little sections. Some of them are kind of small, some of them do get much bigger. Like and becomes almost it's like the really hard traversal pieces from like Guacamelee or Ori, where it's just like you gotta be really precise with your movements, and sometimes it's not always great to do that with pinball. It can be a little unpredictable, so it's not quite as like, oh man, I pressed the wrong button. It's like, oh man, it didn't bounce right. You know what I mean? So it's like that was one of those kind of like it was a little frustrating piece of it, but I mean it's a totally cute game. It's totally fine. I might jump back into it, especially because like I feel like I'm just popping achievements left and right on accident. Somebody's one of those things where like when I'm doing my Microsoft rewards points hunting thing I'm doing now, I need to get a couple extra rewards points. I might just jump into that, play it again. I don't feel I need to like really get into it, but it was fun. Again, that cost me like $2, so I feel happy about that. Last but not least, I bought Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury pack. Mario 3D World, I played on a 3D or one of the kids' 3DS. They had it on their DS. I never really super got into it. I was like, but I'll give it a try. I still have a little bit of problem with that perspective of Mario. I don't know what it is about that. It's like I die a lot. Like I play Odyssey and I play like normal Mario and I'm like kind of mowing through like I'm doing okay. But like there's something about the perspective that just messes with my brain and like my Mario sensibilities that it just doesn't quite work. Like my muscle memory isn't there because it's just a little bit overall, but I do like it a lot. Like it's the first 2 worlds I mowed through, like they were super easy, but I got to world 3 and it's like this is a whole different thing going on now. Like I'm not collecting all the stars, I'm not getting the stamp, I'm not getting everything I need to get as I'm going along. But yeah, totally. I mean, it's a Mario game. I love it. I played about an hour of Bowser's Fury. That is more like it's closer to like Odyssey and Galaxy, where it's like over Mario's shoulder. But it's in 3D World's like engine. Like it's the same movement, same physics, same jumps and same everything like that. But it's kind of an open world where you have little sections that you can just go to any time. That they have like they call it cat shines in this one. This is very cat heavy though. By the way, Bowser's Fury is very cat heavy, cat Mario heavy. So you collect them like each little section has like 5 cat shines, and it feels very much like, again, like Mario 64 or Odyssey. When you go in there, like you can get those cat shines for the most part in any order. But every time you go in there, like you can collect all kinds of things. The difference in this one is Bowser is like covered in the same like black paint from like Super Mario Sunshine. So the Bowser's Fury is like he's super mad. I mean, Bowser's always pretty mad, but now he's super mad. And he's like, and he's huge, and he'll just kind of randomly show up from time to time and kind of wreck what you're doing. But sometimes you need him to show up to like, because only he can, with his fire breath, can knock out certain blocks. So you almost kind of like gotta wait for him or coax him to come out to knock those blocks out too. So it's like kind of a good and bad thing when he shows up. But every once in a while, you get to you tap the giant mega cat bell, and you become like I don't know what would be a cat Godzilla? I guess Bowser's Godzilla in that analogy. But
Catzilla.
you become like a giant cat, like glowing
Cat
Mario.
Kong.
He's just huge. He's just a huge cat. But then even when you're that huge cat, like you can still lose your cat powers and still fight Bowser anyway. So he's big Mario then. But you're playing in the same world. So like the world, like the area where I just was is now super tiny, and I'm like jumping on those things and jump over onto Bowser and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting. I guess Bowser's Fury is like a 4 or 5 hour experience. I feel like I'm gonna be playing that more because like I kind of like don't leave an area until I have all the cat shines. My only real gripe with it is like they do this thing where it's like you have to leave the area to come back to get this cat shine sometimes. Where like it needs like reset that area, and I'd rather just have the chance to just go there and do all 5 if I wanted to, as opposed to just leaving arbitrarily to come back to play the same world again. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely enjoying it. Again, I found my Switch, so I'm playing it now, so that's good.
Where was it?
Yeah, man, it was in the basement, not on the dock or anything. It was about 40 feet away from the dock for some reason, but that's where it was. I had to clean it too. It was gross. It was very gross. Kids are so gross. But it's but it is now fully functional, and I'm actually using it. So finally getting some more Mario in my life.
Awesome.
But that's it. I'm done talking. Steak. What's coming out next couple weeks?
All right, not too much. March 9th. Yeah, I know, right? On March 9th, if you want to get back into it, Mike, Apex Legends is coming out for the Switch.
I should, because I think I would roll on Switch. Because like when it first came out on PlayStation, like I had a bunch of victories in the first like 2 weeks, and then I didn't have any after that because people got good.
March 12th, Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time for Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series X. And on March 18th, Marvel's Avengers for PS5 and Xbox Series X. So we have new PlayStation Plus games for March.
Yes, we do.
Which one we'll talk about more later as well.
Okay.
So the first off here, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
For PlayStation 4. That's pretty huge. Remnant from the Ashes for PlayStation 4. Another game that was actually pretty big. Let me know if I say this wrong. Marquette?
I think that's exactly it.
Marquette? Okay.
Well, I think, is there an R in that, or is it Marquette?
There is no R. That's why I'm having a hard time saying it.
No R.
No R, right?
Marquette.
Yeah, Marquette. Okay, Marquette. For PS5, which looks very interesting. I downloaded it right away. I haven't loaded it up yet, but it looks really cool. And Mike, that's totally your game.
Oh my god, I'm all over that one. Yeah, I have downloaded it too. I haven't got a chance to play it. It's like
any games with dead or island in the title, or anything that sounds French.
I know. But it's they call it like a recursive puzzle game, where it's like
you're recursive.
It's you have like this like it's almost like you have this like small town, it looks like, but in the center of that small town there's a canopy with like a model of that small town in there. So like you can move a block in the small town and it'll move it in the big town, and then if you look at the distance, there's even a bigger town beyond that. So it's like you would do one thing and it interacts with all the different levels of the world.
Sounds like a Rubik's Cube.
I'm down. I'm so
that
down.
Sounds good. And then finally, Farpoint.
Yeah.
For PlayStation VR. So look at it, we're loaded up, and Farpoint is amazing. If you have the VR, do not miss out on it. I even recommend, if you can get your hands on it, get the aim controller, because that's where it first came available, was with that game. With the aim controller, it's even better. It's really good.
That is hard to get your hands on, actually. Like I just in one of my rabbit holes.
When you're looking at video game stores in Arkansas.
Yeah. That's what I do now. It's like it's one of those things where like I'm not spending $80 on that. There's no
That's
way.
insane. That's
Yeah, there's
crazy.
no
Because
way.
I think I got the Farpoint bundle for like $60 with the game and
Yeah.
the aim at the time. So yeah, but still, regardless, if you have a VR, don't miss out on Farpoint. It is definitely one of the top VR games.
Yeah, and Destruction All Stars is still available too. So like you
That's
got
right.
that. No, and Maquette it debuted on PlayStation 5 on
Yep.
Plus, so that just launched with it. I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of the biggest games of last year. So they've been really knocking it out of the park here for the last few months, really.
Absolutely.
So they're keeping that ball rolling for sure. I'm hoping this is what Plus looks like, going forward. Like if you want to like debut like B or C level tier like semi exclusives on this, plus like a big game from a couple of years ago or last year, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think that's how they're competing with Game Pass.
That would make sense.
Because now let's get into the Xbox games with gold games for March.
Yes, let's.
Which are interesting here. I guess that's the best word I could put it for it. So for Xbox One, Warface Breakout from March 1st through the 31st. Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse. That title is awesome. I know nothing about the game, but the title is awesome.
I have a feeling if you played the game, you wouldn't feel as excited about it. So I'll just leave it at the title and stay excited.
I agreed. That is available from March 16th through April 15th. And then for Xbox 360 games, they're playable on your Xbox One and Series X. Metal Slug 3 from March 1st through the 15th, which is a pretty great game. And if you're into strategy games, I've heard this is actually a really good game. Port Royale 3 from March 16th through the 31st. And then Game Pass has got some interesting stuff here, thanks to EA Access. So Madden NFL 21 is now available on Game Pass. Football Manager 2021 for PC on March 4th. Football Manager 21 Xbox Edition for console and PC March 4th.
Have you guys ever tried any of those like Football Manager games?
No. Wrong kind of football.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm aware, but I know, Art.
They're huge.
You had a propensity to play like manager games in the past.
Yeah, real football.
NBA 2K21 for cloud and console on March 4th.
It's a big deal.
They've not specified, but I'm pretty sure it's the Xbox One version, not the Series X.
Probably.
Version.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
How though? I thought that's what like Smart Delivery did. I thought it would put
that doesn't have Smart Delivery. It's 2K. Yep.
Shut up.
2K is just like Activision.
Yeah, stupid. Okay, you're right.
Yep.
But
I'm pretty sure because like the article that Major Nelson shared was not very clear because it says, "Oh, play it on your Series X and S," but it's like, but the way it was describing, it's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's the Xbox One version. Then you get like the X enhanced that you could play on your Series.
No, don't like
it. No, thank you.
Like it.
Nope. Star Wars Squadrons for console coming in March. So they didn't say when, but just coming in March. That's great.
Yeah, I'm playing the game.
Yep. And NHL 21 is coming in April, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaving soon. Make sure if you haven't played yet, go ahead and play because these couple of these have been on there for a long time. Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night on console and PC, and The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt on Xbox.
Less.
Very good.
That it?
That's it.
Extra.
It's time for some news.
News.
All right, let's just jump in here. So PlayStation did a blog post where they announced they're working on a upgraded PSVR, next gen PSVR, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They've said that it'll enhance everything from resolution and field of view to tracking and input. It'll connect to the PS5 with a single cord to simplify setup and improve ease of use. They're going to have a new VR controller, which will incorporate some key features of the DualSense wireless controller, which is great since they're using like a 13-year-old controller right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they also said it is not launching in 2021.
Yeah, that's not a shocker.
Yeah.
I mean,
all good news.
Yeah, 100%. And they had like a patent file for the Sony had a patent file for the controller. You guys see that yet?
No.
So yeah, they had a patent file for the controller. It was two different pieces. One was the controller itself. I mean, it looked like it had like a strap that went around the hand, and it looked just like, you know, like it looked like two like pistol grips. They had like triggers on there.
Yeah.
Apparently, they were the adaptive triggers.
That's kind of what I figured they meant when they said,
Yeah.
you know, DualSense features that, and they'll probably have like the haptic feedback or the HD rumble type.
Right, and it had like it has some lights on it too to track like the motion, but it was kind of unclear where. I mean, again, I don't know how to read patents, so.
You mean you're not a patent lawyer?
I'm not, but they had that, and then they had a second piece where it looked like it could. I think they use a banana for the model, but like there's a way to attach the banana or any object.
I would say it was like an object recognition.
Yeah, and I think
system.
That'd be one of those things where it's like, I mean, I have no idea. Again, this is one of those things. Like, got 1,000 things get patented a day just because it's like we might use this one day. But it seems like it'd be one of those things where like they could, a game could launch with like a cube or something, and that cube can be important to like the way you play the game, but you can't always be holding it. Like you got to put it on this thing or wherever it is. So, but like the game, wherever the tracking system of the VR would recognize what that other part of that other piece is, or I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it would somehow integrate to everything else. It would also suggest that there's cameras on the unit, not on like the camera, like the current PSVR is. So like it would read the object based on the cameras in your headset, so you know how close you are to it, so you can like pick it up like naturally.
It's good to hear. I'm glad that they have, if it's something like that in terms of like cameras on the headset.
Yeah,
like that's the way the Quest works.
Yeah,
and that works very well that way. Because like I was just thinking about that because I was like, God, if I have to buy that PS5 camera again, I'm gonna be so pissed because I got it, and then I'm like, well, what's the point of keeping this? Like,
once they said it doesn't work with the PSVR, what's the point?
Right, and I got the adapter for my PS4 camera, so I was like, well, all right, well, I'm just gonna return this because there's no point in this at all. Like,
yeah, totally.
I mean, it looks nice, but there's no point in keeping this. And then they said after they announced that, I was thinking about that. Like the next day, I was like, don't tell me I have to fight people to get this damn camera back. Like, I'm gonna be so mad.
Listen, you're fine. I went to Meijer last night to do some grocery shopping. They had a shelf full of them.
Oh, that's good.
100%.
Those and the headsets they had well stocked on.
Well, the Pulse headsets are finally fully stocked.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
At Meijer they were. I mean, they don't have much of a video game section, but they had Pulse headsets and PlayStation cameras for the PS5.
I'm telling you, Meijer's my place. If I'm looking for some random ass hardware, that's where I find it.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's super interesting. Like, it's. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised either way if someone's like, we're not doing PSVR 2 or they were doing it. Like, honestly, like it's been a somewhat of a success for them, and they've had some really great games for it. But,
yeah, it's sold well. I mean,
as long as it's backwards compatible with all my previous games, I am 100% happy.
100%.
Nope, you need 2 headsets.
100%.
You gotta change them out.
That'll piss me off.
That's not happening.
Nope.
I just bought one of my other like video game deals of late. On Amazon. They had that Walking Dead Saints and Sinners game for $20, and it's like the full.
Awesome.
It's like the full edition too. So I need to
nice.
At some point. I need to like make a better VR space in my room because.
Well, here, just take all this stuff out of your basement, and there you go. There's your VR space.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, nobody in your house will mind that at all.
But I couldn't stand up. I'd be punching the drop ceiling. So
yeah, it's a drop ceiling. It's made to move.
That's true.
It's like one hole, one square.
It's better than It's better when I was playing with my PSVR and I punched the actual ceiling, the drywalled ceiling.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I still need to hook up my PlayStation VR to my PS5 because some of the games, a couple of games got like some upgrade, like some updates to make them better with because of the PS5 power.
All right, moving on. There are reports that PS5 internal storage expansion slash upgrades will be unlocked in summer 21 by a firmware upgrade that will also include higher cooling fan speeds. About time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, I've been spending so much more time with my Xbox recently, mostly because of Yakuza. But just like this idea of having like that like lifeboat system where like I can store all my games on the external hard drive and then bring them over to like the super fancy SSD when I'm ready
Right.
to rock and roll with them. It's just like that's all I want to do. Why won't somebody let me do that?
I don't know. I don't know. It makes too much sense. That's why.
I just can't fathom why they
Yep.
can't do that. Like what's preventing them from transferring
They
data from one type of hard drive to another type of hard drive?
common sense.
That's yeah.
I mean,
Well, they can't even they can't PlayStation can't even get like just running PS4 games off the external correct. Like everyone's still having a ton of issues with that, like in terms of like updates and all that kind of stuff.
I'm pretty lucky with that. I don't know if I just like randomly picked the right type of hard drive or what.
I haven't had any issues running games off my external hard drive. I have had endless issues with my PlayStation just crashing in the middle of the night and then me booting back up and it saying that there's problems with the external drive. I tried
Yeah.
2 different external drives. I bought a new one that I haven't felt like going through the gymnastics of copying stuff to the internal, copying it to the new external, and copying more stuff to the internal and copy. It's a lengthy process. I've done it a couple times already, and it kind of pisses me off. I can't just plug in a second external and move my stuff over.
You can't do that?
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
Again,
Nonsense.
makes too much sense.
It's only a supercomputer. I don't know why you would think it can do
Yeah.
file management. I don't know why that would be a thing you think it could
But you can do crypto mining on a PS5 now. Someone hacked the PS5 to do crypto mining, so
do. I missed that.
So now, for everyone out there who's had a hard time getting a PS5 so far, it's only going to get worse. So good luck.
I think I got mine.
I saw mine for $2,000. Not really. So a report came out that was published by the Board of Los Angeles Convention and Tourism Development Commission. That's a mouthful.
What's the acronym?
Black. I don't know. That states that E3 2021 live event is canceled. BLA Black to Dick.
So great.
Good attempt. It was a really hard attempt. That's what college try.
Listen, I got like 5 letters into it, and then
that's great.
E3 2021 live events canceled. The city's working with the production team on broadcast options at LA Live and the LA Convention Center. Furthermore, they're working with the ESA on licenses for live events in 2022 and 2023.
I think that's bigger news.
So rest in peace, E3. Long live E3.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the bigger piece of it. Not just. I think there's gonna be no cons or anything like that anytime soon.
They hosted in Texas.
All right, let me get back on track here. So, but I think the bigger news was like they already talked about the next 2 years after that. Like they still do plan on having E3, which I think is interesting because like we talked about this even before like COVID knocked E3 and the whole industry and the world on the ass. It was E3's kind of on like a tenuous like footing. So like them still planning ahead to still have a live event next year and the year after, I think is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean I've seen statements since then from various companies saying like we're not sure we're going to return to the large large scale live events, for announcements like they did before. A lot of them are happy just doing their own thing now that they've had a taste of it, and they probably realize they can save hundreds of thousands of dollars and still get their message out there. So I mean, it'll be interesting once it gets back to live events what it is. Are they going to have to make the full turn towards being a PAX, like they were kind of going towards before everything got shut down?
I don't know if they even need to have like again, like you said, Art. Like if I was a game developer and I could spend like $1 million on some floor space and maybe some people will see it, or I could license 4 minutes from Nintendo to be on the next Nintendo Direct Indie or whatever the hell they want to call it. Like
Right.
I can use that money, use an eighth of that money to be on that instead, and everyone who's watching the Nintendo Direct, which is more people, I think that would be a better use of my time and money. But I don't know, man. I just feel like this is one of those things where like we're not going to go anyway, right? We've never
Right.
been invited. I mean, last year probably would have been the year, but whatever.
Yeah.
I've been.
I don't know. I'm
We're not
talking
going to
now
go.
state.
Not we
Now
have
state.
been.
We're not going to go in the future.
I would
We
love
all
to go
know.
back.
But I'm saying this like I think that this is one of those things where like if it stayed virtual forever, I don't think anyone would complain because like everyone's so used to watching these virtual things and getting the information and getting the hype moments and individual moments. Like they can stay virtual forever for all I care.
Even like the whatever the last time is they did it live, that would have been what 2019.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a colleague who went and bought one of the whatever they were gamer passes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And she went and she's like, "Oh, it was great. I stood in line for one game all day."
Ooh.
I'm like, I'd fucking kill myself. I would about 2 hours in, I would just pack up my shit and go find the nearest bar and just grab some drinks and food.
Well, that was the worst part. It was letting like the public in, like in that aspect,
Right.
because like when I went, I won a contest when I won 2 years in a row, and
Just fucking brag
the
about
second
it.
year I will. I
He
I love
is.
to.
How do I mute you in
But
this recording?
I'm just leaving. I'm literally leaving.
But like the second time I got lucky, I think I was just like, oh, I'm gonna reapply, and it's like, oh, it was approved. But when I went, it was cool because yeah, I still stood in some lines, but it wasn't that many lines because like
Right.
a lot of the first people had their appointments, so they were going to appointments and stuff like that. So the only time I ever had to stand in line was like, okay, this game was huge, like it's a huge game. Like one of the years I went, it was like when they announced Metal Gear Rising. So that was like the line for that was always ridiculous. So like I first day I scoped where everything was out. So the second day I was like, okay, the minute these doors open, I am running straight there, and I am gonna get in line and like be one of the first people for
Knock
that
over some
and
senior
stuff like.
citizens,
But
kick
like,
out
but
some
then I,
walkers, break a hip or two.
I took out a couple of walkers, but that's their fault. What are you walking at E3 for? But but then I was reading like some of the stories from the past couple of years with like the public and like what they were going through. I'm just like I would have had a different feeling for E3 if I experienced it that way because like
Yeah, right.
that's awful. Like yeah, like you said, like standing in line stuff like that, like all day for a game or two, like that's just terrible. Like,
Well,
but
that's even like say by some miracle we applied and got whatever press passes into it. I don't know if I'd want to go with that many fucking people there. It's just like a claustrophobic type thing. Plus, I mean, we're not big enough that we're not gonna get appointments with these people, so we're gonna have to wait in line with the rest of the schlubs. And I am 100% anti waiting in line for things that aren't settled in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know. Keep it digital. Everyone has their own show, and it's
digital's
all good.
digital's fine, but I still want that E3 feeling.
I do miss those
Like
big shows where like he had like the orchestra
yes,
playing or just like
yes.
someone shows up on stage. But then you also have like here's Pele talking about soccer. It's just like I don't need
Nobody
Pele.
Well,
watches EA. Come on.
well,
I'm just
EA's was ridiculous, especially that last year. Oh my god. I think I remember live streaming that, and I got a headache halfway through it, and I just stopped live streaming
that's
it
right.
because
You did.
it
I
was
remember
so
Yep.
bad. But
that.
I got like a migraine.
Yeah, I can't
I was
even
just like, you
stand
know what?
this.
I don't even care. Yeah, yeah, for that.
No, totally.
But yeah, but no, but last year, I just didn't have that feeling. Like I missed that awesome feeling of like, all right, like these next 3 days, I'm gonna get so much information. It's gonna be insane. Like
Yeah.
I love that feeling. And it's like, so if you're going to keep it virtual, that's fine. But like, I want these companies to still stick to that week of like giving me all this information.
Yeah, if everyone goes virtual, they're not going to do that.
They already did that this year.
That's the only thing.
There was stuff all summer.
I would say,
just, like,
here's the thing.
And whatever.
I would rather them do it all in one weekend just to get it over and done with. I don't want to have to say like, oh, Ubisoft's doing a talk this week. 4 days from now, EA's doing a thing.
Jeff Keighley's doing something after that.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley's getting on Clubhouse and talking to a bunch of people. Nintendo's got a thing 4 days after that. Like, just
the calendar. Remember that? I made a calendar.
Yeah,
for us in the summer.
Yep.
Just get it all done at once.
That's
I love that 3 days of.
From my perspective, I say get it all done at once because I don't want it to drag on forever like that. But from their perspective, I'm gonna pump the brakes for like 3 days, let Microsoft do their thing, and then I'm gonna go. So I'm not buried under their giant news that's bigger than my company.
100%.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go forward. I'm fearful though of what E3 is going to turn into.
Yeah.
Hope I'm wrong, but I'm not. Okay, last thing. Epic Games is buying Mediatonic. May have bought Mediatonic already. I don't know. This just came out in like the last day or two. They are the developer of Fall Guys.
Correct. That's a big deal.
From what I read, they said basically that, I mean, this could all just be corporate speak, maybe to calm their employees or whatever, but they're saying that they're going to let Mediatonic continue operating as an independent company and doing their thing and whatever.
The first couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, or until like, I don't know, like this is, Fall Guys, I feel like for sure is going down the free-to-play route here in a minute with like all kinds of events and costumes and, they could probably even have built like, courses that are specifically, Justice League or whatever the hell they want to do. You know what I mean? I think they can do all, like now they have,
epic money.
They have epic money. That epic money. Like, I mean that in any way you want to look at it. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I always liked Fall Guys. I did fall off after that first month of playing it, but like, good on those guys though, man. Like they made a hit and they got paid.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's great. No, absolutely, it's good for them.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's it. All right. So we did have a couple of events. Or what do you guys say?
Just like a couple hours ago, there was Bloomberg, the Bloomberg, I think it is, or whatever.
Yeah.
The Switch. So supposedly that they.
How are you allowed to see it? I thought that guy blocked you.
Oh no, it's
him.
everywhere. Just Strider or whatever. I forget his name.
Strider.
At this point. No, Strider's a good game. I take that back. But the Switch Pro, quote unquote Pro, seems to be getting into production. Samsung OLED 7-inch screens at 720p, a dock that does 4K, better battery life because of that OLED, smaller bezels. So it's supposedly going into production in June, which would be perfect because that means they'll show it off at E3 and then start pre-orders, start production, and there we are.
Yeah, that's man.
All right, everyone, you got until June to sell your current Switches, so they're still worth something.
No kidding.
I got the Animal Crossing one, so I can sell mine whenever.
Maybe I can have my own now.
There you go.
You
can have your own. That'll be less disgusting until 3 months down the road when they start putting out Switch Pro only games that your kids want to play and they can't play on the other Switch because Nintendo's never done this before.
What's really funny about the kids and the kids do play games like fairly regularly. They play a lot like iPad games or Roblox and things like that. They're like almost oblivious to like a console game. To like, hey, come over here. Let me show you something. And then, I mean, like for real, like I've ruined this for myself because I was trying to be fun. But yeah, so like honestly for me, like yeah, the thing is cool. Like it I mean, you've seen that the mock-ups online already. For some reason, the mock-up had like the Wii U gamepad thumbsticks though. Like the thumbsticks were both on top of the buttons, which I can't fathom them actually doing that.
Hell no.
But I mean, like Art just said it too. Like, there's no way I'm gonna buy one until it has like. I'm going back to my 5-game rule. Like, you better have 5 games in this thing. I can only play on that new Switch before I can justify buying another system.
You better sell that current Switch before those 5 games come out.
No, the kids are playing it. That's theirs.
I want
Anywho.
one. Give it to me now.
You don't know what it is.
It don't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's a figment of everyone's imagination at this point.
If it runs like it's better in handheld mode, I'm all for it.
That's true. I'm more excited about just like I really did think, I saw my Switch so little. I thought about buying myself the little one. I was like, no, I can't have the smaller screen. I just can't do it.
Kids get the smaller screen.
That's
well,
right.
then
Unless you're in my house where my kid has an actual Switch, my wife has a Switch Lite.
My goodness. All right, so there was a Sony State of Play since last time we spoke, and something else.
Pokemon Direct.
Okay, that's why I don't remember.
One of these things is relevant. The other one's Pokemon.
So, Steak, you got Steak. This is your show right now. So, what do you want to do first?
All right, let's PlayStation was first. So let's do PlayStation.
All right, chronological order is always the right answer.
Damn it!
Right.
I just finished all this water. I need to take a leak now.
Would you like me to do the
Pokemon now?
Pokemon? I can do the Pokemon now because it'll take me like not long at all.
Sure.
Okay.
You do that. I'll be back.
All right, go take your leak.
I'll react. I'll react for
all right.
Start.
Great. So the Pokemon Direct. So this started off. It kicked off like the 25th anniversary. And a really cool intro video. The intro video like went through all the phases of all the different games, anime, movies, merchandise, everything in the last 25 years, which was really, really cool to see. Even a couple of peripherals that I had no idea existed. They must have been Japan only.
They usually are. I've never seen it before. Like, oh,
right,
because that's never came to the States.
Yep. So that was really cool. And then so they showed off some more Pokemon Snap that's coming out April 30th. The first time they showed it off, it looked kind of, I don't know, it looked kind of rough. It looked a lot more polished this time around. It looks really good. They're going to make some nice like online features where you can share pictures and you can star them and all that kind of good stuff and view them. So that's kind of cool. But I don't know. I was never a huge Pokemon Snap fan. I know it's a kind of like a cult classic kind of thing. I'll probably pass on it unless I can get it for cheaper, which maybe in 5 years I can get it for cheaper.
Pokemon Snap's one of those like definitely like well, pun intended, I guess, like a snapshot in time for like the Nintendo 64 era, because it's like it was Pokemon was like just getting really, really big. It was like a console version of it. I mean, it was kind of an easier game too, if memory serves. Like you were just kind of like almost on rails, like it was like you had to like you always would see the Pokemon, but you had to like snap at the right portion of it. And if memory serves, like you could take your memory card out of your 64, bring it to like a Blockbuster, and print out your photos, which is just like there's no more like 90 sentences I could possibly put together than Nintendo 64, Pokemon Snap, and Blockbuster memory card. You know what I mean? There's like it's just such a beautiful little like snapshot of the time.
Oh, for sure. And during the intro video, they did that. They
really?
they had like the sticker sheets, which was really, really cool. Yeah. But it looks. I mean, it looks a lot. I think it does look a lot better than the first trailer they showed. It looks great. So if you're a fan of Pokemon Snap, be excited. I'm sure it's gonna be awesome. So April 30th is the release date on that. Then after that, they announced remakes of Diamond and Pearl from the DS era. So Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl are coming in late 2021. What's really cool is that the style that they're doing is the top-down view still from like the DS version. Just looks pretty and nice, kind of like how Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee kind of work, like that kind of style. But it's your typical standard kind of Pokemon game, which a lot of people like the remakes that for these are coming were not a surprise, but a lot of people thought it was going to be done in the Sword and Shield kind of style, like the newer style. The fact that they're doing it kind of like an older, updated is awesome. I think that's fantastic. That actually made me more excited for the game. I think that's really cool.
Nice.
Then the last game they announced is Pokemon Legends Arceus. I think it's how they say the Pokemon name. It's coming in early 2022. Um, this is an open world. This is what everyone's been waiting for. It is an open world action RPG, real time. Like they showed them, like you creeping in the grass and you're throwing the Pokeball at a wild Pokemon. They showed battles and stuff like that. This takes place in the same gen as Gold and Silver, but way before.
Okay.
So it's like super earlier times. Because like the Pokeballs look super old and stuff, like they look wooden and things,
Okay.
which is kind of neat. But visually, it looked really rough. it looked it looked brutal.
Yeah.
And I was watching because Easy Allies are big Pokemon fans, so I was watching their reaction to it, and Damiani even said he's like, this has to be a Switch Pro game, and I agree. Like, I think this is like how it's looking on the current Switch,
Yeah,
and then
right.
the next Switch is going to take it to a different level. I have a feeling because like it's rough right now. Like it basically looks like think Breath of the Wild, but even a little rougher than that.
Yeah. Man, I did watch that trailer just because like it was like the big pop of the show, so I want to check it out. And people seem like excited for it. 'Cause I know people have been wanting the open world Pokemon for a
Yeah,
long time, so I hope it's good. And I hope you're right. It's like this is what it is on the regular, and this is what it looks like on the Pro or Switch Pro, wherever they call it. So yeah,
yeah, I got that.
I
I
hope
got.
it's good.
I have a feeling.
I hope it's good for everybody who's been waiting on it.
So yeah, so that was pretty much it for the Pokemon Direct. Before I didn't mention it, but before that, they had a whole bunch of events of like different Pokemon games. They've all expired by now, so that's why
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go through them. There's a whole bunch of them. But yeah, so
There you go.
but that was I'm still thinking. I mean, it's the 25th anniversary. I'm thinking they're not done yet. I just have that feeling they're not done celebrating just quite yet because that's what Nintendo likes to do. They like to like throw some stuff at us and then a couple months down the line give us a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Zelda. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully get more from Zelda.
That's right. All right, Art, you good to go?
Yeah, I got more
You feel
water. I'm
better?
good.
All right, excellent. All right, so PlayStation had their first state of play in a very long time, actually, because like the last couple state of plays we had were very focused on like particular games.
Yeah.
Like what was the one? Didn't Demon Souls I think had one. Ghost of
Demon Souls had one. Destruction All Stars had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is their first like Nintendo Direct style state of play in a while. So we kicked things off with Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. March 12th, they just ran through all the upgrades that the PS5 version's getting. Like, I hope there's a way I can get this cheap or free, maybe on Plus or something. Because I really want to see this running in 4K 60. Because like it already looks like a pretty game. I have a feeling amazing and run amazing on the PS5.
Yeah, it looked pretty. I mean, it looked pretty just on the state of play like stream. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it looked it's interesting.
Then after that, we got a brand new trailer and gameplay and all that good stuff for Returnal. This is Housemarque's PS5 game coming on April 30th. This game visually looks just ridiculous.
Yeah. And the action too. Like there's a lot of shooting and big monsters and it looks like there's a lot of upgrades and like and even hinted at some like because the game's in third person when you're shooting, and then they're hinting at some like first person,
Yeah,
looks like almost like walking sim story beats, and those are two things I'm in on. But like the whole roguelike thing is just like an instant turn off for me. So like I might be able to get past that. I mean I am gonna wait for see what reviews pop up on this thing because it's coming out. When's it coming out?
April 30th.
Okay, it's pretty soon. So like I'm not like chomping at the bit for Eternal, but like watching that that showcase piece is like, man, this does look pretty intense.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the price on that. I don't know what if it's the $70 first
I
party.
think it is. Let me look it up.
Oh, God, see, that's what's turning me off to it too. I mean, if it ends up being like Hades, I mean, I can get into that for
Yup,
sure.
$70.
But
Yeah.
it is something. Yeah, that's too much right away. I'll hold off on that for now. After that, we got a much better trailer than in the Nintendo Direct for Knockout City. So this is the Battle Royale dodgeball game.
Yeah.
You're able to do like one-on-one battles, or you're also able to do like three-on-three battles, and they feel like completely different games, which is really, really cool. But the more they explained it and everything, it seems like it could be interesting, fun games coming out in May. You can sign up for the beta now for all systems. The PlayStation, I think you get early access to the beta potentially, but the beta is coming for all systems. After that, we got a brand new PS5 game, Sifu,
Sir.
coming in 2021. This was basically kind of like a the Raid meets John Wick in a hallway battle scene. If you've seen
Everyone
either of
kept
those
like,
movies,
yeah, the Daredevil, the
all the
hallway scene.
Daredevil.
Is what
Yep.
everyone talks about. This is from, I know they made Absolver, but I can't remember. God, Slow Clap.
Slow cat. Yep.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that game, and I read the no, after I was going to say a play, like right afterwards, there's always like a PlayStation blog post, and they have all these different like news blasts afterwards, and it even got me more interested in it after watching it because it looks so dynamic. The fighting, like it really uses the environment, and you're fighting off multiple enemies, and every punch and kick landed, and you can see like the person that got hit, like their body reacted appropriately for being hit in that area. There's one portion where the guy did like a Spartan kick and like kicked him forward through like over a balcony, like over like a
Yeah.
glass. Like that looked really
That was
cool.
cool.
But it looks like every time you die, like you age. Like time is like your currency in the game, where like in the story is like you're this warrior that's been training his whole life to fight some battle, and he has an amulet for some reason. Um, and the amulet like will keep him alive, but like sucks life out of him every time it does it. So that's why he keeps like that. Like when you're watching the trailer, like, he gets getting older and older as it goes along. But man, that game looks really cool. I don't know how it like all ties together. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but man, that game looked very, very cool.
I can see that being a potential plus, like
Well,
a plus game maybe.
yeah, and I mean, if they keep doing, like I said, if they keep doing that, where they're releasing their like again, Bug Snacks, Destruction All Stars, we're gonna talk about another one here in a minute. They're all like free PlayStation 5 games at launch, like launch of the game. Like this fits in that criteria, right? Like it's not like a huge game, but it could be something fun. A lot of people have their eyes on it. I mean, it ends up being a PlayStation Plus game. That'd be huge, I think, for them.
Yeah. So after that, we got a new trailer and gameplay of Solar Ash. This was revealed at the very first PlayStation 5 video thing. It's still coming in 2021. Um, Looks great. Not my style, not my game in particular, but it looked really good.
Yeah, I never played Hyper Light Drifter, right? That's
Yeah,
the
have
game.
to. Yep.
I never played that. I mean, there was I really like the locomotion of the game from what I saw so far. Just like the zipping around and really flying around real quick. That looked fun. I don't know what's going on though, so that's kind of one of my sticking points
Yeah.
to it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't say I checked out during that piece of it, but I didn't like I didn't have any real tie to that developer, that franchise, or anything like that.
So after that, they were preparing us for scary fans. Are you ready? Um, but
uh,
it ended up being Five Nights at Freddy's. Security breach coming in 2021. Five Nights at Freddy's needs to die, in my opinion. But this one is this one seems to be more of like a first-person exploring type of game. instead of the camera works that Five Nights at Freddy's is used that you're used to. So that honestly, that kind of is a little more interesting. At least they're doing something a little different and looks a little more interesting. But yeah, I just never got into the Five Nights at Freddy's. I just don't get it.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is like the second time or third time they've showed this game, and they can stop. They're gonna stop showing this game.
Honestly, I don't get into horror games in general, but that one in particular, like even videos I've watched of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, I'm just like, is this really that scary?
It's just jump scares. Is all it is. Like it could be anything. Like it could literally
It
be
is.
anything. So it is about as shallow
Yeah.
as it gets. So I can't fathom getting up for this game.
No, and I'm okay with jump scares, but like not the way they do it. Like it's
But
just
that's
so
all it
it's so
is.
cheesy. It's cheesy jump scare. Like, that's the thing, and that's all it is. That's everything. Like I don't mind the like if you give me like a psychological like thriller and then you throw a couple in there, like great, that's fine because you want to get me to jump, like
Right.
whatever, that's fine. Kind of like in the first couple hours of the medium, like it was kind of like that, where like
There's
it was
one.
fine. And then, like,
Well,
they
two.
threw
There's
that one,
two
like,
in the medium.
okay, right. And it's like, but it gets you, which is
Yeah.
great. Like that's awesome. But it's like Friday Night at Freddy's. I'm like, okay, it's just this is I'm waiting for it kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Like and like I I don't know. It's like I said. It's just there are 5 million horror games on Steam that do the same exact thing. So
Right.
like I don't need a specially made one on the PlayStation 5.
So after that, we got a brand new trailer and a whole bunch of more gameplay of Oddworld, Soulstorm. It is coming out on April 6th, and it will be the PlayStation Plus game for PlayStation 5 version and come April, which is pretty awesome because this is not my style of the game. I think it actually looks really good. I actually think it looks very good. So, but considering it's going to be a Plus game, I'll definitely gonna give it a whirl.
Yeah, I can't. Art, have you ever played any of the Oddworld games?
no.
That was definitely a rental a couple of times, way back in the day, and it just never clicked with me. So again, this is just so far off my radar.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. I mean, those people that love those games, obviously, if they're making more of them, but it's just I've never seen anything involved in it that appeals to me.
Yeah, right, 100%.
It seems like one of the um, people were always upset about with these games is they were never violent enough. This one looks quite violent. After that, we got a brand new, amazing trailer, in my opinion, for Kenna Bridge of Spirits. This is oh my god! So this is the game that they first showed off at the first PS5. I fell in love instantly, and even after this, I want it now. Thankfully, we do have a date, August 24th.
Yeah, it's a little bit later than I wanted to, and it's Kina, by the way, which I also learned.
Kina, yes.
Which I was been saying it wrong the entire time up until they announced it.
Well, it should be Chewies, right? I mean,
don't get me started on video game like naming conventions. But it also, I don't know if you saw this or not, but that's gonna be a $40 game.
Yeah.
So I should be like, oh, that sounds awesome, but I'm always like, what's wrong with the game? But it looks so
probably.
good. It looks so good.
It does.
I mean, those little, squishy little black, dudes. I love them already. I don't know their names. And just like the gameplay when
They
you're
remind
fighting.
me from Loco Roco.
Yes, they kind of do. But just like they also all those guys seem to have like their own little personality, which I really love. But
yeah.
But just like when they're showing the battle, it's just like the lights and the motion and just like it's oh my god! And at the very end of the trailer, when they show that the person, I don't know if they're being attacked or the summoning that like suit of armor that like just starts attaching to her and becomes like this big like mech looking thing. Oh man, that game looks so good.
Yeah. So after that, we've got our 1,233rd trailer for Deathloop.
That was
I
so
just feel like
cool.
I know. I'm sorry. I
He
should
had
have
a
ripped on it
Bond
because
theme
that
for
much.
crying out loud.
The trailer was cool as shit. I just feel like every time we have any event for anything, this keeps just popping up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like for you guys, for me, it's like I think it's cool and it's interesting, but it's kind of like what was it? The Dragon Quest 11 was showing up in everything for forever. I feel like this is like the same thing where it's like it just keeps showing up in everything forever. Um, but it's cool. It looks very cool.
And are you more in, more down, same amount of in, not at all in? Like, I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
I still need more info, I think. Like it
Yeah.
sounds bad, but like we have so many trailers, but I still don't know, is there a
So,
true single player or not?
okay.
Like what is going
So
on?
the next day, they had the game director had like a short video that showed up on YouTube, and it was like a 3-minute deal, and they were kind of explaining a little bit more of how like some of the gameplay works, but they still didn't talk about, is it all single player? Can it be single player? Like the woman that's hunting you down while you're hunting those other targets down is like in the group of those people you're hunting down, if that makes sense. So like there's like 7 or 8
Right,
different
right.
targets. She's one of the targets as well. So like if I kill her first, or I don't know, is she out until I reloop again if I have to reloop again? Or like I don't know, man. It's there even with that explanation I got, and they showed some like cool effects and how you're building on your character as you when you die and things like that. But like I'm with you guys still too. It's just like I just want to know
Like
how I'm going to play the game.
the fact that they can't give me a clear answer has me firmly in the mindset of, you know what? I'll wait a year till it's on Game Pass.
Ooh, it can't be. It's a PlayStation exclusive.
Timed.
Timed.
Oh, that's right. Shut up, Art. With your correctness.
No, I'm with you. And that's the thing. I think I'm 100% with you on that, Art, because
I mean, that
it
could
looks
change if they
cool,
just
but
come out and give us a clear answer on how it has to be played, how it can be played. You know, if they sit there and say, "Hey, there's a full single player experience here." Okay, you have my attention again. Tell me more.
right, right.
If they sit there and say, "Oh, it's just one experience and you can play against a bot playing the sniper instead of another player," well, I'm not sure how much that grabs me.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah. No, I agree. Um, all right, so we wrap things up with kind of a little bit of a surprise. Um, T7 remake. So this is the PS5 version of
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is coming out on June 10th. The if you own the PS4 version, you can upgrade to the PS5 version for free. Not the Plus version though. So this is what
Correct.
I said before we're going to talk about. So if you redeem the PlayStation Plus version this month, you cannot upgrade that version. So you have to either have the disc or you
You can't
bought the
upgrade it for
digital version
free. I think you can
for
still
free.
upgrade it. You can still upgrade it
Yeah,
with some kind of cost, but you can't upgrade.
yeah,
It's not a free upgrade.
right. So yeah, so this is June 10th, and this is adding a Yuffie DLC chapter. So when you upgrade from the PlayStation 4 version to the PlayStation 5, you can purchase the Yuffie version, the Yuffie DLC. They said it's going to cover about 2 chapters long, but it is PS5 only
Wait, you have to pay for those extra chapters?
Yep.
for the
I'm out.
Yuffie. Yeah,
I'm
the
out.
Yuffie because that's DLC. Yeah.
I'm out.
It's very bold of them to put DLC out for a demo. But I just I'm so confused by everything that's going on. With Final Fantasy
I
VII.
was initially questioning like, okay, is it a standalone Yuffie thing, or are they somehow jamming it into the other however many chapters of the game? But now you're telling me I got to pay extra for it. You know what? I didn't care that much about the character when I played it back in the '90s. No, I'm good.
But also, like, I don't know, man. Like, how about you finish the game? How about you work on like the next chapter of it as opposed to like cramming in like a small 2 chapter, like, I don't know. And how much do we know how much this thing's going to be? Just like the Yuffie chapters.
Not yet. They haven't announced any prices or anything, but someone did some data mining over in Japan, and it looks like it might be around $20.
I don't know, man. I mean, y'all know how I feel about this game. You know, I think our game of the year last year. So I, I don't know. I mean, the upgrades look cool. Like the PlayStation 5 upgrades look really nice. Like there's an actual pretty big visible difference. Yeah, like photo mode and some other stuff. So that's nice and neat. I don't know. I feel like I feel like they're shoehorning more things into this to get like more games in before they can make the rest of the game that they already released.
I mean, if the Yuffie chapters would have been included in the free upgrade, I would have played them. But I'm not paying more money to play those 2 chapters.
Neat that they're adding this.
Maybe it'll bite me in the ass when the next part comes out because I'll be missing a big chunk of story and then I'll regret it. But
Art. Speaking of, by the way, you didn't like the ending of Remake, right?
I'm not really sold on the direction that they're taking it, and I'm not really sold on the fact that they have you, even if it is in an alternate reality, beating Sephiroth at the end of a first game of a multi-part series where he was this untouchable god in the original game.
Apparently, there's also some kind of like, if you would have played like Crisis Core on the PSP, you would have like understood the ending better. Or you would have had like a different look at the ending, which I also feel is just nonsense. Because there's no way to play that game right now unless you have a PSP with a non-exploded battery.
Correct. After this state of play, they did announce that Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis will be coming to iOS and Androids to start, because this is kind of like that's also how the Final Fantasy.
Oh, great mobile games!
Well, this is how the Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition started on mobile, but then eventually came the consoles. I think this exact same thing's going to happen here. But the Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is playable. It's going to be the playable versions of Remake, Advent Children, Crisis Core, and Dirge Service.
Correct.
So you're gonna be able to catch up and get it back into because at the end of the trailer that they had for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, the guy that they were teasing is from Dirge Service.
Right.
So it's all a thing. Like, so it's cool that at least they know that people. I think they could do this better in terms of like just give us the damn game. Like, give us you don't even have to give us a remake. Just give us a remastered of Crisis Core. Basically, just upscale the resolution, throw it on the PlayStation Store for everyone to download and play, because the game is excellent. The story is amazing. It would just, so at least they're giving us some kind of version. And I'm actually kind of excited because they're actually giving us a playable version of Advent Children, which is really, really cool.
But also, this is coming out in 2022. We don't know any idea how it's going to roll out. It might be like all one big, here's a $40 mobile game, which I don't.
It sounds like chapters.
Or it's going to be like you're going to be paying per chapter.
Yeah.
To go through all this massive story to understand a game that came out in 2020.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, absolutely. It's just certain ways of certain things. I get that, and I understand. But I'm curious to see how that works out. I'm excited for Ever Crisis though. I'm excited to see how they do that. Because that's really, really cool. Because like I bought Dirge Service when it first came out. I could not get into it. And I just never tried it again back then. So I just know of like from reading and stuff that those characters were involved, and like that guy that showed up is from that game. So I'm excited to kind of get through, because if it's anything like the Pocket Edition of Final Fantasy 15, I played the shit out of that. Like I loved Final Fantasy 15, and then playing that Pocket Edition, it was basically the exact same story, just done differently, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So if it's anything like that, I'm in. Like, it's going to be so cool.
On a positive note here, the mobile game, it looked like it looked like a better version of Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1. like when you move around the world.
Yep.
But when you're fighting, it's like the models from the Final Fantasy VII remake, which looks really really nice and looks really cool. So like that, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm interested in that piece of it too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I made my voice heard.
I'm excited. Obviously I'll buy the. Don't worry, I'll let you know. Art. I'll buy the Yuffie DLC.
It's fine. I'll find a YouTube video to watch.
That's
free.
Fine. I'm excited. I'm excited to dive back into there and check that out. And I'll probably dive a little bit more into Final Fantasy VII as well, the remake as well, with the PS5 upgrades, because some of those upgrades, especially in the Shinra building, like the lighting and everything, was bouncing off all those reflective walls and stuff like that. Looked really really good from the trailer. But I'm curious. I'm glad that the upgrade in terms of like from PS5 version is free. That's great. I think I'm shocked the Yuffie stuff is PS5 only. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think to me that's crazy. Like it was funny because I was talking to my buddy Fusa after they announced it and stuff. And I'm like, there's no way this is PS5 only. And then the FAQ came out. Sure enough, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that's ballsy. I'm like, clearly then it's taking advantage of the PS5 and like they probably were like, well, we're moving forward at this point. But at the same time, like it's so early in the PS5 cycle for something like that. Like that's crazy to me. Like I don't, I'm sure you guys have seen on Twitter. We didn't talk about this earlier, or we mentioned this, but Tony Hawk, 1 and 2 remake is getting the upgrade to PS5 and Series X, and Activision's charging $10 for that on PS5. And if you have the physical edition of the Xbox, there's no way to upgrade, which is like, that's insane. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's good. That's Xbox showing like, hey, no, like don't charge people to upgrade to the next version. But at the same time, now we're getting screwed. Like I have to buy a $50 if I want, and I'm not going to, because screw that.
Yeah.
I would have to buy a $50 version of this game to get the Series X version. That's garbage. I feel bad for the people that bought the collector's edition as well, the $100 edition, like, because they can't either. They can't do it.
This is insanity.
It is. It's crazy. So at least they're doing that where they are giving you the upgrade. But I'm still shocked that the Yuffie DLC is PS5 only.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that DLC for the price of On the House.
I mean, oh man, I don't know. And for $20 too.
Well, like I said, we don't know yet. I mean, that's what they're data mining, so
yeah,
we don't officially know. It seems like it's going to be that, which wouldn't surprise me because, I bought that Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC. That was $30, and that was just not worth $30. Like that was stupid. Like that was crazy. Like I was not happy.
This is the same game director too, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. I pray to God it's not. Well, the thing is like if we're just paying for the Yuffie DLC chapters, like to me, like 2 chapters, and you're giving me like, I don't know, 5 hours of gameplay, we'll say, in those 2 chapters, 5 to 6 hours. Like to me, 20 is the max. Like, and that's still pushing it in my opinion. But like 20 would be the max amount for that. We're like the Remind, like the Kingdom Hearts 3 thing, the story-based stuff was like an hour or so, like a little over an hour, and then you were paying for just fight all the bosses in super super fucking hard mode. Like that's pretty much what the DLC was.
That sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, no, I did one battle of that and I stopped.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, like I said, I mean it's more Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I'm excited for that aspect of it. I do want just fucking part 2. I do like how they are adding this into the story, like into like the first part of the story though, because Yuffie you actually meet in the game right where Remake 1 ends, like where the first
it's like
remake ends.
you can get here like right after like the world opens, right? Like you can find the place where she's hiding.
Yep. Exactly, or you get forced, or she's forced into your party later in the game. But it's everyone gets her. Yeah, but everyone gets her at this point of the game, right at the end of this game. Yeah, Wutai. So it is kind of cool, like that they're going to intertwine her in here to see, like, oh, this is what she was doing before you met her, kind of thing. So that in that aspect, it's kind of cool. But I understand Art's point as well.
I'm just excited. I mean, I already had a chance to play it for free when you borrowed it, and you gave it to me. But like, all the crap aside, like if I get to play a part of my PlayStation Plus, I might give it a spin, especially because like March for me, there's not much coming out in March.
There's I say the thing I always remember about the first part of the Final Fantasy remake that always goes understated is they've only released like 2 patches for that game since it launched.
That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they're working on the PS5 upgrade the whole time. That's why. All right, I think that's the end of the presentation, right? I think that's all the Final Fantasy news. I think that's all we got for
That was it.
for this episode, right?
That was the big ending.
Beautiful. All right, well, I think that's all we got for today. Unless anyone has any final thoughts on the state of play outside of it being like, that's fine. That's how I felt about it.
Yeah, not so much about the state of play, but the reception and the interwebs. People need to realize not everything is a E3 mega presentation where they're gonna drop some big news on you. I mean, if you don't have realistic expectations, that's on you.
And like PlayStation also said, like we're gonna do 10 games. We're doing some deep dives. Some of it, some of it is gonna be new. Like, I don't know, man. Like, not everything, like you said, not everything needs to be megaton announcements. And for me as well, the way like we talked about E3 earlier, like some of these games that are gonna be like shown this year have been in development for like years. So like, they hit a benchmark. All right, by E3 2020, we're gonna have a gameplay section that we can show at the E3 press conference. And that was like in 2018, 2019. So like we're gonna get to that point here coming up in the summer or fall where like, all right, we're gonna be seeing more of what we anticipated seeing in that E3 timeframe. Which is obviously not now. So we're like months ahead of time on that now. And God knows if anything's even on time this year. Let's remember that too. Maybe this was slated to have God knows how many more games. Like who knows how long the state of play was planned. There might have been 4 or 5 more games that they thought they were going to be able to show at this point, but they can't because of COVID reasons. So who knows?
Yep.
All right. That's all I got for you guys.
I agree. And
what were you saying? I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, like, this like for me, like, I thought it showed a bunch of great stuff. Not a lot of stuff for me personally, but this what they showed was really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of this stuff is big always. We'll wait and see when it comes out. It might be good, might be okay, it might be terrible. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's all we got for you this time, Stickheads. See you next time.